Happy Saturday, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo. We have a million games on the slate. We've got one kicking off pretty quick, two underway right now. So let's have a quick look at those live lines at the moment. Bear with me while I get this open here. Okay, so the Ottawa Senators and New York Islanders, they're sitting 2-2 apiece right now. There's 8 minutes left in the third period. Coming into this one, I really did think the Islanders were the play in this game. We know they're fighting to be able to get into a playoff spot. So minus 148 right now on the Islanders at home. I would make a play on that. That total is 5.5. To the over is plus 200. You guys, this has every opportunity, and at plus 200, I would take it to the over before I took it to the under. If one of these teams scores, the other team will pull their goaltender. So plus five, over 5.5 at plus 200 is the way to go. Looking at the Buffalo Sabres and the Detroit Red Wings. And in that game, I really did think the Islanders would cover the puck line. That juice has moved down to minus 136 on that money line right now. So grab it if you do like the Islanders before that moves back up. We have seen things lock up between the Detroit Red Wings and the Buffalo Sabres as Detroit does put another goal on the board. This is a 3-1 game with 6 minutes left in the third period. It was just a 1-2 game for the Detroit Red Wings. I'm glad to see the Red Wings finally getting the puck in the back of the net. We know this team has been struggling offensively on this losing streak that they've been on. They've been completely outscored out there. So I'm happy to see it. We'll see what those live lines come up as. I expected this game to go over that total. We'll see what the total comes out with this fourth goal hitting the board. So 6 minutes left in that one. Not a lot of time to jump in. Happy Saturday, you guys. Jo with the crack and shutting down the Preds, Matt and Kev, thank you so much for being here as well. Okay, let's look at the next game. We have the New York Rangers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. This one kicking off at the top of just after the top of the hour here. The Penguins are at home minus 102, minus 118 here for the New York Rangers, total of 5.5. Minus 120 to the over, minus 102 to the under. You guys know my thoughts on the New York Rangers right now, how strong this team is playing. I am looking for this one to stay under that total, but I think I need to look at that first period before I look at the full game. I love the first period, no goals in the first 10 minutes. That's coming in at plus 110. We know the Rangers will look to lock down on the defensive side. They're not a team that comes out of the gate looking to put that first goal up on the board. And I think the Pittsburgh Penguins, with their inability to really jive, except for their last game versus the Sharks, where they put up 6 goals, I do expect this to be a slower first period and a more defensive first period. So give me the under 1.5 in the first period at minus 118 and the no goals in the first 10 minutes at plus 110. Now, the Rangers are off that loss versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. They went up quick in that game. We were able to get the over 1.5 in that game. And that was a game where I expected the Lightning to be able to push them offensively and us to go over that total in the first period. Now, what happened in that, sorry, I was saying halves, you guys. What happened in that first period was the Rangers took forever to score. They made us sweat it out. So while the Rangers could score on the Pittsburgh Penguins here, I think it's the same sort of thing. They make us wait it out. And you look at Tristan Jarry, he faced 36 shots the last time he did face the New York Rangers, and he stood really tall versus them, only allowing that one goal. He's 8-8. He's 8-8 in his last 17 games versus them with a 2.81 goals against average and a 905 save percentage. So I do trust Tristan Jarry to be able to do enough in this one. Now, quick, the last meeting versus the Pens, he faced 32 shots and he was able to get the shutout win versus them, with the New York Rangers winning that one 1-0 versus Pitt. And that was in last November. And they won the 2 games prior. So the Rangers have been strong in this matchup. And Doug, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so other things that you can look at here. Trocheck coming in here. He is a Pittsburgh kid. The anytime goal for Trocheck coming in at plus 240 for the New York Rangers, because I'm looking at a lower scoring game. At the end of the day, I don't like to take a lot of goal scorers, but the storyline behind Vincent Trocheck here is phenomenal. And at plus 240, he has 4 goals, 3 assists in the last 7 games. So he has been strong. The Pittsburgh Penguins team total under 2.5 is coming in at plus 100. And I do think there's value on the plus 100 to their team total under the 2.5. And if I had to take a side on the game, I would or total on the game, I would lean to the under 5.5. I think the Rangers as well get the win. It's just kind of scary. The Rangers are only minus 118 here versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so because of that, I am staying off aside in this one. You look at those lines and they seem kind of fishy, and sometimes they're fishy for a reason. This is the last game of a road trip for the New York Rangers. First night of a back-to-back. They're home tomorrow versus the New York Islanders. And this is the first game of a back-to-back also for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They face the Red Wings tomorrow. And that total is at 4.5 between the Buffalo Sabres and the Detroit Red Wings. You can't bet it to the over. It's minus 330. If you think there's no more goals and this last 4 minutes holds out, the under 4.5 is coming in at plus 235. But I caution you with that because of that empty netter. We have seen the Ottawa Senators take the lead over the New York Islanders. They're up 3-2 right now. The Islanders are now plus 600 on the money line. This game, how they're playing out, has every opportunity of going to overtime. If you want to hedge, grab the New York Islanders plus 600. And then when this goes to overtime, you could look at taking the Ottawa Senators at the value you're going to get, because plus 600 right now is a phenomenal number. That live line is 6.5 plus 108 to the over. It has the opportunity of going to overtime. So I would go to the over. But if you hit the 5.5 a couple of minutes ago, you're laughing right now. You just need one more goal. Let's look at the New Jersey Devils taking on the Arizona Coyotes. Now, looking at this matchup here versus the Devils versus the Coyotes, I'm looking for both of these teams to really light the lamp in this game. The New Jersey Devils have been so strong offensively, and the Arizona Coyotes are a team that can hang with anyone, especially in Mullet Arena. I know they don't have a good record on the season. They're sitting 7th in the Central. This team has had their struggles out there for sure, but you look at their wins that they've been able to get at home and their fast start, Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley playing strong out there. I think you look at this one and you look at that first period, both teams to score in the first periods coming in at plus 164. Now, Jake Allen will be in goal, and we saw Jake Allen make his debut for the New Jersey Devils in the last game out. He was absolutely phenomenal versus the Stars, and the Devils were able to record that 6-3 win. I told you guys that as soon as you look at those goalie props, and Jake Allen was 30.5, juiced to the over at minus 125, it was just an automatic green flag that it was the Devils going to be able to pull off a really solid game in that one. As soon as you see a goaltender that's been struggling and they're facing a team that is better and you're seeing that number so high, there's a reason. The books know exactly what they're doing out there. So congratulations to anyone who took the Devils in the last game. I went easy. I took their team total over 2.5. I put a little sprinkle on the money line, then took Jake Allen over his save shots on goals. So it was a nice positive, but both teams to score in this one is coming in at plus 164. It's cashed in 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams as well. Now, I do think you could look at the Devils team total over 3.5. It's coming in at minus 110. You know the talent on this team behind behind Jack Hughes. You got Timo Meyer, Jasper Bratt, Nico Heischer, so many talented players. So I do think this has every ability to go over that total for their team total in this one. Okay. The next game we have is the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Florida Panthers. This is going to be a fantastic matchup out there. Now, I know the Florida Panthers would love to lock down on the defensive side of the puck and have a low-scoring game here. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We saw the New York Rangers be pushed into a higher-scoring game versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I expect the Tampa Bay Lightning to push the Florida Panthers into a very similar style game here. In the last game, the Tampa Bay Lightning played. They went down in that first period to the Rangers. The Rangers scoring 2 late goals in the first period, giving us the over 1.5. But then the Tampa Bay Lightning were able to come back and get that 6-3 win. Looking at this one here versus the Florida Panthers, I don't know if they can get this win here. Florida is so elite out there. I love all of their playmakers, and I do think they have every ability for a big win here at home. You look at their home record, 21-9-2 on the season. I'm going to look at that first period. I'm going to look at the first period over 1.5. I think this is the same as what we saw between the Lightning and the Rangers, where the Lightning push the Florida Panthers into a higher scoring one. That's not to say that I believe it will be the Lightning who score those goals. I don't trust the Lightning defensively on the road, especially now. Andre Vasilevsky is in net. We know he can be hit in certain games, and he has been playing better in a lot of these, but I think the Florida Panthers, with their playmakers out here in this huge game, have every ability to go over their team total as well. Their team total coming in at 3.5. It's minus 102 to the over. And I look at this one and I think that goal in the first 5 minutes absolutely could cash. Now we were playing for a while there, the Florida Panthers in the first period on the puck line laying a half a goal. I do think that's in play in this one as well. One 1-0 first period won't get us there. I do think though that the Lightning will be able to score as well. So I do think it's a 2-1 style first period explosive. Then I think I could see things slow down. Now, if you're looking at for goal scorers, Braden Point was an absolute moneymaker in the last one out for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov as well. You've got to look at both of those players. And then you could go Stamkos and Victor Hedman. At Victor Hedman for the points I really like today. Looking at the Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk has been absolutely phenomenal, and Barkov. I would look at both of those players to come out nice and strong. The Lightning in the first period is interesting to look at the Florida Panthers, because the Lightning in the first period versus the Florida Panthers, they've actually lost the last 4. So I really do think, and I might put an exact score if I can find a book that will give me the exact score in the first period, because not all of them do them. 2-1 first period, because that's really how I see it playing out in that first period. We got Bobrovsky in net for the Florida Panthers. So it's going to be a great game, you guys. Let me know what you're thinking in this game, what you are liking out there on the ice. Now, the next game, we have the Montreal Canadiens against the Calgary Flames. Now, earlier in the day, when I had prepared for this game, I did believe we'd have Sam Montembeault in goal. It looks like Premier's will be in net tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, that's a huge difference here, because Sam Montembeault's been up and down. He hasn't looked like the goalie that I thought he would be this season. He has had some phenomenal games, though, and he's coming off one. Premier had a fantastic game his last game out. The confidence he's going to come out with, getting the shutout his last time out, is going to be phenomenal. But the Calgary Flames have been so energized out there on the ice, and I do think this game still has the ability to go over the total. Now, it's going to be a little harder with Premier in net, I do believe, but off that stellar performance, can he really go back to back having those kind of performances? I don't think so. Jacob Markstrom in net for the Calgary Flames as well tonight. I don't know. This one just screams over to me all day long. This is the first game on the road for the Montreal Canadiens, and Calgary coming off that win versus Vegas. They got the 4-1 win as well. Yeah, I'm taking the Florida Panthers first period over 1.5. I'm also taking the Florida Panthers on the puck line in the first period. I'm taking the goal, or both teams, not both teams to score. I'll take the exact score 2-1 though, but not the both teams to score. It's too many different bets in that first period, but I do think the puck line. Okay, let's look at the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Boston Bruins. This one at 7 p.m. Eastern here, you guys. Current lines on this game. I can find it here. Okay, plus 168 for the Philadelphia Flyers, minus 205 for the Boston Bruins, and we have a total of 5.5. Minus 120 to the over, and I would look to the over before I look to the under in this one. Sandstorm will be in net for the Philadelphia Flyers and not Urgent. So I think there's a big drop off there. He's got a 3.22 goals against average and a 8.46 save percentage. Now, Allmark or Swayman will be in net for Boston, and I don't care between the two. There's not that much of a drop off. It doesn't affect what I think of this total, because I think Boston is in for a huge explosive offensive game. We saw them in Montreal get a low scoring win. It was a 2-1 shootout win for the Boston Bruins. Montreal always plays them hard. That rivalry is pretty fierce, and I think they open up offensively in this one. Now, the Flyers are sitting third in the Metro, and the Boston Bruins sitting second in the Atlantic. The Flyers are coming off that loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost that one 6-2 on Thursday, and they had the Leafs back on deck on Tuesday. This is just like a one-off road game, and I don't like the scheduling spot here for the Flyers, especially when the Bruins played in such a low-scoring game in their last game out. So give me the Boston Bruins on the puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 124. They've covered the puck line the last 4 meetings versus the Philadelphia Flyers. I also like them in the first period on that puck line, laying the half a goal at plus 138. I think there's so much value between both of those bets. You also look, they won the last meeting in January 6-2, so it was a big win for them. The next game on deck, we have the San Jose Sharks taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. This game, I know both of these teams have sold off playmakers. I'm just looking for lines here. But I do think it still goes over that total 6.5. It is minus 110 to the over or under. With the San Jose Sharks here on the road at plus 164, minus 200 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That puck line, if you think Columbus can win this one big, which you know they have every opportunity of doing, minus 1.5 is plus 122. I'm just going to take this one straight over the total of 6.5. We've seen the Columbus Blue Jackets win the last 3 meetings versus the San Jose Sharks. You know San Jose's record on the road, 6-23, 1-3. That puck line on the road, though, it's pretty 50-50, sitting 16-17. The puck line, though, for the Columbus Blue Jackets at home, they've actually been pretty solid, but you got to remember a lot of these times, the puck line record is them as a dog. So 19-15 at home. On that puck line, 12-17-4-1. At home, straight up. Not the best numbers there. Tarasov expected for them for the last 5 meetings between these teams have just flown over the total. You know, one team always scoring like 6, 7, 8 goals. So I'm going to take this one just over 6.5. Easy. Let's move on to the next game, you guys. We got the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Samsonov is okay. This was a scare this morning. Samsonov in morning practice skate. He went down. He went down on his knees. He wasn't able to get up very fast, and he kind of bent right over when he did. I really question if he got a puck in between the pads or something kind of winded him, but he will be back out on the ice. Now, we look at Samsonov versus the Carolina Hurricanes. He's absolutely fantastic. He hasn't lost to the Canes yet in his career. He's played 5 games versus them, won every one. He's got a 929 save percentage versus them and a 2.03 goals against average. So he's been phenomenal. Frederick Anderson in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. And we know this team's ability to lock down defensively. They allow the least most shots on their goaltending. So the defense really gives the support out there. They're coming off a win versus the Panthers. On Thursday, they were able to shut out the Panthers, which is absolutely insane to see. And that's another reason why I think that Panthers team is going to just explode today in the first period. But the Toronto Maple Leafs won the last 2 games. They got the 6-5 win over the Flyers on Thursday. So when you look at this total, staying under the total, it feels wrong, but I think it's so right. I really do think low scoring goaltending battle out here between these two. Now, could this one fly over the total? Yes. Both of these offenses are so phenomenally strong, but I just don't see it happening. That live, the total right now, 6.5 to the under is minus 128. If this was a 5.5, I would still take it, and I'd still feel comfortable in taking an under 5.5 between these two. So you might want to alt that total. Now, minus 132 here for the Carolina Hurricanes on the road, and plus 110 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's hard not to like the Leafs in this situation with Samsonov being so strong versus the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they could pull off this win. They won 3 of the last 4 meetings at home as well. And the Carolina Hurricanes did win back in December 3-2. Give me Toronto to win this one, 3-2 at home. I think they are the right side, you guys. Next game, the LA Kings taking on the Dallas Stars. Okay, I thought we were going to see Jake Ottinger, so I did make a play already on the Dallas Stars because I expected Jake Ottinger to come out here and have a bounce back after that last game versus the New Jersey Devils. The last game versus the New Jersey Devils, Jake Ottinger got yanked after he allowed 4 goals on 10 shots on goal. Yes, the defense was really standing up for the Dallas Stars, but 10 shots, you allow 4 goals, it's not cool. So I expected him in. It's not him. It's Scott Wedgwood tonight in for the Dallas Stars, which I don't love now. So my original play in this one, and I'm just going to talk it out with you guys, was the Kings team total under 2.5 at minus 110. I already have that bet in. So if you already have that bet in, with me because you caught me earlier on game time decisions. I don't know how much I want to stick with it. I want to see how these teams come out. If all of a sudden the Kings come out in that first period and score quick on Scott Wedgwood, I'm then going to take the Dallas Stars on the money line because the Kings have gone up first and get them at a better price because I still do think the Stars are the right side and the team that can get the win, even with Wedgwood. David Rittich is in net for the LA Kings tonight. This LA Kings team just hasn't been scoring enough. Will they score on Scott Wedgwood, though, tonight? Is my biggest question mark. They could. So that's my plan. I've already got the under 2.5 for the Kings team total. I just don't trust them. You saw them versus Seattle, and they took until what? The third period to be able to score one goal. Kempe able to get it. Yes, they're coming off a 5-0 win over the Chicago Blackhawks, but it was the Chicago Blackhawks, you guys. So this is a live bet for me because my bet's already in. Now, the Dallas Stars did win back on March 9th. So that's what, 6 days ago, 4-1 in LA. And they've won the last 4 meetings in Dallas. So they should be able to get the win. I just can't lay the money line here with them at the moment. That money line right now for the Dallas Stars is -164, plus 136 for the LA Kings. And again, that total of 5.5. I took the Kings team total under 2.5. If you want to play the over 5.5, I feel actually more confident in the over 5.5 at the moment at -138 because I do think the Dallas Stars can score as well. Yeah, George, I have gone over the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers. I think Boston is in for a big explosive offensive game. In that one, I'm taking the Boston Bruins on the puck line in the first period. I'm also taking them puck line for the full game. The Philadelphia Flyers have Sandstorm in goal, and I don't have faith in him. He's got a 3.22 goals against average, and they should be able to score. Boston off that last game versus Montreal, where Montreal pushed them to a shootout win. The Bruins got to come home and be able to get something done. So that's where I'm going with that one. Okay, you guys, let's keep rolling here. Tons of games. Let's look at those live lines right now. The Ottawa Senators and the New York Islanders. I hope you guys took that over 5.5 and then over 6.5. We have gone to OT in that one. It looks like, sorry, I'm just going to check one more thing because FanDuel is hard to tell those overtimes. Yeah, we've got 3 minutes and 29 seconds left in overtime between the New York Islanders and the Ottawa Senators, and the Detroit Red Wings beat the Buffalo Sabres 4-1. So that was the final there. I wish the Sabres were able to get a couple more goals. I had the over 6.5. So not what I like to see. And I also had the Islanders on that puck line. So 0-2 on my main bet so far today, you guys. Got to get it back. But hopefully you jumped on those live bets with me. Always watch those live lines. It's the best way to make money in hockey, you guys. That being said, I will be on Game Time Decisions tonight for 3 hours, 7 p.m. Eastern all the way to 10 p.m. Eastern. Scott Wetzel and myself, college basketball, NBA, NHL, live lines, looking at games that are going on, games that are coming up in the night with all of our bets, and then keeping you up to date where you can jump in on all of these games. So, like I said, this is the best way to make money. I believe in sports betting is the live lines. Let's move on to the next game here. We have the Minnesota Wild taking on the St. Louis Blues. Now, the Minnesota Wild are -128 on the money line. It's a cheap price here for them. The St. Louis Blues at +106, total of 5.5, -118 to the over, -104 to the under. For me, it's the Minnesota Wild here on the road. They've won their last 3 games. This team is rolling hot. Jordan Binnington is in goal for the St. Louis Blues, and I keep telling you guys that I'm waiting for him to go off this season where he just kind of loses it a little bit. Last season when these two teams met was the game in which Jordan Binnington got suspended, 1, 2, I think it was 2-game suspension. For he was roughing and unsportsmanlike conduct was the official call in that one. Ryan Hartman scored on him in the second period to cause Jordan Binnington to lose his mind out there. And the Wild went up in that one 5-4. That game ended up being so high scoring. I'm going to look at Ryan Hartman to get the best of Jordan Binnington again today. I love those storylines, knowing that he did it already last season. Now, we have seen this matchup already. The St. Louis Blues just won March 2nd, 3-1. But the Wild won the 3 games prior. And I do think the Wild should be able to get the win here. Ryan Hartman for the anytime goal is coming in at plus 260. So much value there. Kaprizov, you know how hot he's been. His anytime goal coming in at plus 110. He has 8 goals and 3 assists in the last 6 games. So phenomenally hot out there. But the Wild at minus 128, the juice has gone up a little bit as the day's gone on. It was minus 125 earlier, but still worth it. Gustafsson expected here for the Minnesota Wild. And you look at the St. Louis Blues, they won their last 2 games and they won big games. They won versus the Boston Bruins and the LA Kings. I just can't see them continuing to roll so hot. I like the hotter hand here, the Minnesota Wild. Okay. The Predators, go Panthers. Yeah, Islanders in OT. So the Islanders and the New York Rangers face up tomorrow. So the Islanders didn't want to be in this situation where they're in overtime today. Rangers tomorrow. We'll see how the Rangers play tonight. Hopefully this team can get a solid game out there and not get too tired because their game is later in the day. So the Islanders will have more rest time. But it's gonna be a hard one coming off OT for them then to face the New York Rangers. We saw them in that outdoor game, these 2 teams. And Rempe should be back from suspension, I believe, as of today. So we'll see what happens out there on the ice. Let's look at the Nashville Predators taking on the Seattle Kraken. Minus 120 here for the Preds, plus 100 for the Kraken. Total 5.5. Minus 114 to the over, minus 106 to the under. If you like the Preds laying the 1.5 on the puck line, it's plus 210. And I tell you, that does look tempting. I know some of you have already said the Senators won that game. The Islanders, I tell you, this team under Patrick Waugh needs to get things going. That's for sure. Man, I can't believe the Islanders lost that. I was on the Islanders minus 1.5 on the puck line, so that hurt. Well, at least they lost now. They didn't cover the puck line anyway. Rangers money line makes no sense. Took Pens today, too fishy. Yeah, we're going to look at that one in a minute here because you're right. Why the Rangers are such short favorites. I played on the first period, so we'll look at that in just 1 second. Okay, the Rangers versus the Kraken. The Predators versus the Kraken here. The Kraken have lost their last 3. Capitals beat them on Thursday. Low-scoring 2-1 game. Now, the Predators are coming in here off a win over the Winnipeg Jets. I actually was really impressed. I was on Wednesday. They got a 4-2 win. I love what we've seen out of the Predators, and I know a couple of you are Kraken fans out there. I just don't know if they can get it done here versus the Preds. The Preds, to me, are playing too hot. They're sitting 4th in the Central. You look at the Seattle Kraken at home. They've lost their last 4 home games and 5 total games in their last 3. They have struggled out there. I just look at this one and I do think the Predators can win it. They've only lost 1 of their last 5 road games. This team has been so hot on the road. So I'm going to look at the Predators, short price here on the money line. I'm going to look at them on the puck line in the first period. You're laying half a goal in the first period at plus 182. I think that has the most value because we know the Kraken have every ability in that third period to come back in games. So I'm not going to take the puck line for the Predators full game. Puck line first period, I think is the best bet at plus 164. And then the Predators on the money line is my second favorite bet. I would look for this game to stay under 5.5 only if you like the Predators, because the Predators' way of winning is led by their defense. If their defense doesn't show up, the Kraken will win this game. So if the Preds can lock up on the defensive side of the puck, they can win it. It's the only way around it. As soon as they allow those goals to come in, they can't get into a shooting match with someone. So the Seattle Kraken's team total also, I think, is a solid play. Under 2.5 at plus 108. But that all depends if you think the Preds can win. If you don't think the Preds can win this one, you've got to look at Seattle to the over. Like absolutely to the over 2.5. Because if Seattle puts up 3 goals, they're winning this game. It's not going to be the Preds. Now, Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg, those would be your goal scorers for the Predators, in my opinion. So it's going to be an interesting one out there. The Rangers and the Penguins have kicked off right now, you guys. I've got the Rangers puck line first period. Or sorry, I've actually only got the under 1.5 first period for that one. But you guys are right. Fishy line on that for sure, with only minus 118 for the New York Rangers. Let's look at the Washington Capitals versus the Vancouver Canucks. Only 2 games left on the slate. The Washington Capitals, current lines on this one, you guys, if I can find it. Washington Capitals plus 184. Vancouver minus 225, total 5.5 minus 134 to the over. This one screams trap if you are taking the Vancouver Canucks. Yes, they're an awful loss over or versus the Avs 4-3 in overtime at home. This team doesn't lose at home. They're so phenomenally strong, 21-6-4 at home on the season. We know the Washington Capitals are not that solid of a team, especially on the road, 14-15-3-1 on the road this season. It just stinks, this game. There's something about this game. You look at this line, it makes no sense. We've seen the Washington Capitals have won the last 4 meetings in Vancouver. Charlie Lindgren getting the start versus Casey DeSmith because Demko is out of the lineup. And now let's see if there's confirmations, because if it is Demko in net and not Casey DeSmith, it does change it for me because I don't trust Casey DeSmith. I trust Demko. But I do think you look here, and I've got no confirmations. You look here at the Washington Capitals plus 1.5 on the puck line. That is coming in at minus 130. So you've lost some value. It was minus 122 earlier in the day. That money line earlier in the day was almost 2-1 to your money. It's now plus 184. Still value. I would do half a unit on the puck line, half a unit on the money line. Now, I also think you have value on their team total over 2.5. You're getting that at plus 14. I think that's probably the best bet. It's Casey DeSmith in that. I can't trust him to not allow the Washington Capitals, who have been playing stronger offensively in some of these games, to get on the board. So the over 2.5, I think, is in play. TJ Oshie for the anytime goal, extreme value at plus 330. Ovi at plus 200 for the anytime goal. And Dylan Strome coming in here at plus 350. If I looked at anyone, it would be Ovi and Oshie. Ovi and Oshie. So for those anytime goals, Vancouver should be able to put the puck in the back of Charlie Lindgren's net a couple of times as well. It would be JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, but the value's just not there when you look at the Vancouver scorers here. Pettersson at plus 160 and Miller at plus 145. So I know Vancouver won in February 3-2, but the Washington Capitals, and that went to overtime, have won the 3 prior. So I'm just not buying into it. So they won the 3 prior. They won the last 4 meetings in Vancouver, and they're this big of dogs. The books want you to bet Vancouver on the puck line and still lay juice, because Vancouver on the puck line is, well, it's plus 108. I don't know. Caps, I think, can pull it off in this one. I just think that line stinks. They shouldn't be such big favorites. And I know it's Vancouver at home and how strong they are and off a loss, but I'm not buying into it with Casey DeSmith. The game of the night, the game everyone is talking about, we have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, looking at lines, let's see if any movement has happened, because Edmonton was minus 130. They're still sitting solid at the minus 130 mark, plus 108 for the Colorado Avalanche. I am shocked this isn't a pick'em. To be honest with you, this should be a pick'em. That total is 6.5. The juice is going up on the over 6.5. It was minus 130 to the over before. It's now minus 144. I think this is the best of the total you're going to get until we get into the second period. So I wouldn't take the over 6.5 right now at minus 130. It's too juiced. What I would do here is I expect an explosive first period. If we see 3 goals in that first period, the total is going to skyrocket, and you're going to have to lay juice to the under, but that's where I would go once this total explodes, because it will. And as long as the game starts as I expect, I'm looking for that first period to start with a bang. This is the first meeting between these two of the season. You guys know I still don't trust Skinner completely in net. And while Edmonton is so solid at locking down on the defensive side of the puck, containing Colorado is not going to be an easy thing to do here. The Colorado Avalanche offensively are phenomenally strong. Their defense is strong as well. But I do expect this one to be a shootout, especially in that first period. So give me the over 1.5 in the first period. You got to have to put that in a parlay, though. Don't bet it straight up. It's minus 150. The goal in the first 5 minutes, though, I love. That's coming in at plus 154 between Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid. You know, these two are going up against each other for all kinds of things, records and everything like that. So I expect that goal to come really quick. Both of these teams liking to get up versus their opponents and not really being stand back, play defensive hockey to start a game kind of team. So give me the goal in the first 5 minutes at plus 154, but also give me both teams to score at plus 142. Now, if you want to go crazy and you want to bet Edmonton on the puck line in the first period, I really do think this is a 2-1 first period. Like I was telling you with the Florida Panthers game, and Edmonton on their home ice wins that first period 2-1. I then expect in that second period for these teams to start locking down on the defensive side. Colorado doesn't like to play that comeback kind of game, but they're very strong at it. So this live betting this game, especially if we see Edmonton go up 2 goals in that first, absolutely phenomenal value you're going to get on Colorado to be able to come back and get the win. And I do think you play it live when one of these teams goes down by 2 goals with the value you're getting. You can even hedge this because I think you're going to get enough opportunity to hedge in this situation in this game. Overtime bet for this game's coming in at plus 360. I absolutely think we have a situation where this one can be pushed to overtime. So I'm also taking this one to go to overtime. You look at Colorado, they've lost their last 6 first periods as an underdog as well. So Edmonton puck line first period makes sense. Yeah, the last 4 meetings all went to overtime between these two teams as well. Nathan MacKinnon for the anytime goals coming in at plus 115, Connor McDavid at plus 130. We know Connor McDavid's been getting more assists as of late, but I tell you, one of these guys is in for 3 points tonight. I think both of them at least get a goal. This is going to be one fantastic game. Wait till this total jumps to maybe 8.5 and then take it to the under, because if we get the 3 goals like I'm expecting in the first period, I do think this goes under, and then I think we're still 8.5 might be tight. I was thinking 3-3 going to overtime. That puts us to 7, but we could do 4-4 going to OT. If it gets to 9.5, take the under. Don't take it at 8.5. So that's where I'm going, you guys. This is going to be absolutely awesome out there. Ekholm is out. Yeah, Ekholm is out, but it just leads me more to that over in the full game. I love the over, Doug, in the first period. I think the over in the first period is the way to go with both teams to score, and Edmonton on the puck line because I think it's going to be 2-1. So you've got an over 7. Okay, the over 7, I would play. I think it can get to this at least 7, and then you get a push. We're more likely to get to 9, because I could see 4-4 going into OT. So you expect over 10, then take an outline over 10.5. I think that would be absolutely fantastic plus money there. We know these teams can both score. We know that Skinner isn't the best goaltender. I'm sorry. He's got really good numbers, 2.57 and 907 save percentage. So it's not that he's not a good goalie, but the lapses that the defense on Edmonton has in some of these games, allowing the high danger shots to come in, it's Colorado. You allow Colorado to have those high danger shots with Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, even the offensive defenseman, it spells trouble. So I don't hate the over 10.5 either. I think it's probably worth a little sprinkle. But you guys, that is everything. Let's look at that. Oh my God. It's not a good start. The under 1.5 in the first period is dead between the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. 3 goals already in the first period. You got a live number of 8.5 for that total. I am hitting it under 8.5 because maybe I have an issue today and just want to keep losing money. 3-0, 0-3 to start the day on my main hockey bets, you guys. Not looking pretty, but let's get the rest of them. It's going to be a good day at the end of the day. Let's just go there. Those early games, they can just all go take a hike. Enjoy college basketball today. Fantastic games as well. So we're gonna stay positive. We're gonna get this money. The Carolina Hurricanes, I think, are gonna play in a really tight game today in that one. My official bets in that one are coming in as, what do I have in that? I just don't want to lead you the wrong way with the Leafs. I just took the under 6.5 at -134. I expect it to stay under that total. Thanks, Mom. I love you too. It's always nice when my mom's here. Hi, Mom. Anyway, and a big shout out to my Aunt Kath. It's my Aunt Kath's happy birthday, you guys. So wish her a happy birthday. You guys have a fantastic day. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money and enjoy all of today's games. Bye, guys.